Okay, good evening. My name is David Cashman from SEB Housing, and this is the lottery for the affordable two-bedroom homeownership unit at 315 College Farm Road condominiums in Waltham. Let me give you a little bit of background, a little bit of more information about how we're going to run the lottery and how many people applied. And then once I give you that information, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to let me know. You can just type them in the box to the right of where you see me. I'm going to just type something there now so everyone can see what I'm talking about. And then we'll do the lottery drawing. So as you know, there's one affordable two-bedroom unit being offered through this opportunity. There were a total of 13 households who are going to be entered into this lottery. These are households who, based on the information in their lottery applications, were eligible for this program. There's just going to be one waiting list because there's only one unit. And remember that the order that I draw your lottery application numbers doesn't necessarily determine the order of the waiting list, because there are certain priorities that have to be given, including for larger or appropriately sized households. You may recall when you filled out your lottery application, there was a question about what household type you are. You could be a household type 1 or a household type 2. That information also would have been reflected in the lottery application number letter that we sent to you when we told you, yes, you're eligible for this lottery. And the program requires that preference be given for the two-bedroom unit to type 2 households over type 1 households. So in total, there were 7 households who said that they were type 2 and 6 households who indicated that they were type 1. And so I know that when I eventually send you the waiting list tonight, the top 7 households on the waiting list will be the 7 type 2 households, and they'll be followed by the 6 type 1 households. So again, you know, being drawn earlier in the lottery is better than being drawn later, but I don't know in real time, and you don't know in real time as I'm doing the actual drawing what the order is going to be, because you don't know the household types of the application numbers that I'm drawing. Now, the good news is that within a couple hours, I will send everyone the waiting list. And the waiting list will be ordered top to bottom in the order of priority that households will get to move forward. It looks like every household who's entered into this lottery has provided an email. So if you're interested in getting those waiting lists, check your email in the next few hours. And you'll have them from me, in addition to some other instructions and information about the lottery and about moving forward. Now, the waiting lists that I send you, they're not going to have your names. They're just going to have your lottery application numbers. And by the way, if anyone doesn't know what theirs is or forgot, please feel free to type it in the question box. I'd be happy to look it up for you. So there'll be the waiting list will have your lottery application numbers, and you'll notice that some of those households are going to be in bright highlighted green and other households won't be. The relevance of that is that households who are in the bright highlighted green are going to be immediately invited forward by SEB Housing to engage in the next step of this process, which is to submit all of the income and asset and tax documentation that we need to review to confirm your program eligibility. Hopefully that's not coming as a surprise to anyone watching this. You remember from looking through the informational materials that you had to submit an application, but you didn't actually have to submit the supporting income and asset and tax documentation. And hopefully when we sent you the documents requirements guide, you began to aggregate or collect some of that stuff so that if you are invited forward in the next step, you have a folder ready and you can just say, yep, SEB, here's all that stuff. I've collected it. I'm ready to go. If you haven't done that, you can still do that. But you know, you're only going to have about a week or maybe 10 days to get all of that documentation to us. So it's not an open-ended invite to submit that stuff whenever you like. You do have to get it to us in a timely fashion. And that's just, because, it's fairness to everyone to keep moving forward. And the developer, they want to know if they have eligible buyers. And so, we're required to kind of keep things moving forward. But again, hopefully you've collected that stuff and it won't be too difficult to submit it to us on time. If there's anything missing, we'll let you know and we'll work with you. Now, the other thing you may be wondering is there will be more. There's only one unit, but more than one household will be highlighted in green. I think there will be 4 or possibly even 5 households who are going to be invited to immediately submit the income and asset and tax documentation to us. The reason for that is because in our experience, sometimes households aren't able to move forward for one reason or another. It's possible that when they submit the income and asset and tax documentation, they actually are over income. They put a number on their lottery application. They said they made X, but they forgot about an income source, or they didn't realize a particular income source would count as income. And so when we look at it, they're unfortunately over income. Or sometimes people change their mind. And that happens. We have, lottery applicants who will just, decide it's not the opportunity for them and go in another direction. And so, in an effort to keep things moving forward, we invite more households than there are units in the event that someone or several people don't move forward for one reason or another. We don't want to then start the process over from scratch until we find someone. We want to kind of have a pool of people so that we can keep the process moving forward. What that means is that the order of priority established by the lottery does get maintained, right? So if you're, the 5th household on the waiting list and you're in green and you're invited to move forward and submit stuff, you don't get to jump up to the first position just because you're the first household to submit stuff. We have to keep the order established on the waiting list. And so that means that, an invitation to move forward is not necessarily a guarantee that you're going to be able to actually buy this unit. If a household who's ahead of you on the waiting list does also submit all of their documentation and is eligible and ends up reserving the unit. So just, an important thing to keep in mind that for anyone, we do have to maintain the order established by the waiting list, and an invitation to move forward in the next step, even if you're eligible, even if you get everything to us, is not a guarantee of a unit. You'll have to see what happens with the households ahead of you on the waiting list. Another thing is once a household is certified as eligible by SEB, we actually don't make the final determination. That has to go to the state for the final sign-off. Typically, they sign off on our work, and it's pretty routine. Occasionally, they'll have questions. If they think that we forgot to ask for something, we'll let you know, and you need to be prepared to respond to that. But I can tell you that in most cases, we do a pretty thorough review, and the state approves of that. And then at that point, the household is fully deemed program eligible and can move forward in the next step. And the next step of the process is for the top waiting list household who's eligible to engage in the home buying process with the sales team. At that point, there'll be some new players involved. SEB is not the sales team, so we're not going to be on site. We're not going to be showing you the unit or taking a reservation and any of the deposits or signing the P&S or any of that stuff. We'll be peripherally involved. And the reason for that is because the household who does end up getting to buy this unit will need to update their file, will likely need to update their file closer in time to when they're going to close to show that they remain eligible for the program. Now, again, I don't know if that will be required in this case. If you close close enough in time to the time that SEB certifies you, you may be able to skip that second review. But a lot of times, we do an initial review, we determine that a household's eligible, but then if many months pass before they're closing, the state requires that we do a second review to make sure that they remain eligible, that between the time that we've certified them and they're going to close, they haven't taken a new job or gotten a huge raise and graduated out of the eligibility for the program. So you have to maintain program eligibility all the way up through closing, which means that even if you're one of the households who's invited to move forward after this lottery, and even if you submit all the income and asset documentation, you want to continue to keep an updated file. So as new pay stubs come in or new bank statements are available, print those out or whatever, download them on your computer, put them on in your file so that you have updated copies moving forward. Are there any? I'm going to do the drawing here in a second. The drawing actually is going to go pretty quickly. As I said, there's only, there's 13 households eligible for the lottery. I have everyone's lottery application number on a white note card. These are already shuffled up, but I'll put them in the box in a second and shuffle them up a little bit more in front of you so that you can see. And then I'll pull them out one by one and I'll hold them up to the screen so you can see them. And again, that process is not going to take more than just a few minutes, so it's going to go quickly. Again, that's not the waiting list. I will send you the waiting list within a few hours of the lottery by email, and the waiting list will be ordered top to bottom in order of priority that households are going to be able to move forward in this process. One final thing I should say is, for the household that does get to move forward in the purchase process of this unit, so reserving a unit and putting down a deposit and then signing a P&S agreement, definitely advisable if you want to get an attorney to represent your interests through that process. There's no rule against that, and that's definitely something that we encourage. Home buying is obviously a huge purchase, the biggest purchase that most people make in their lives. So having an attorney to represent you and make sure that you're kind of aware of your rights and responsibilities and obligations along the way is definitely recommended. And then again, to the extent that, there may be any extensions or anything like that need to be agreed upon. Those are not questions for SEB. We get those questions a lot, so that's why I'm saying that. Sometimes purchasers will say, I'm needing a little extra time to get financing. SEB, can I have an extension? And we'll say, well, that's really a question for the sales team. We're not a party to that agreement. So in any event, if that ends up being you and moving forward, just keep in mind, extensions to dates in the purchase and sale process or really queries or requests for the sales team. They're not for SEB. Okay, so without further ado, I will do the drawing now unless there are any questions. If you think of something later, I'll stick around for a second after I do it, answer any questions that there may be. Doesn't look like there are any questions, so let me put the numbers in the box and we'll go ahead and do this. Okay, here's the lottery box. Nothing sophisticated, I know, but it gets it done. So let's shake these up. Okay. First number drawn is A.009. A.009. Next number. A.010. A.010. A.007. A.007. A.001. A.001. Next number is A.004. A.004. Next number is A.013. A.013. Next number is A.012. A.012. Next number is A.008. A.008. Next number is A.005. A.005. A.002. A.002. Next is A.006. A.006. Okay, this is the second to last number here. This is A.011. A.011. And then last but not least is A.003. A.003. All right, that was it. Quick, like I said, relatively painless. So again, that is not the order of the waiting list. I need to just shuffle these up to give priority to the larger household types. I will create the waiting list. I will email those to you within a couple of hours, along with the email will have some information about moving forward. I'll also attach a lottery night handout that just includes some information about the waiting list and how many households applied, just in case you're curious. And that's kind of it. Like I said, the top, I think, 5 households will be invited forward to submit income and asset and tax documentation. I think that email will go out likely by tomorrow. And so just be checking your emails for that if you're in highlighted in green on the waiting list. And then, thank you everyone for your interest in this lottery. It's a great opportunity. Good job getting this far. For those of you who don't end up getting to purchase this unit, I recognize that may be disappointing, but there are other homeownership affordable opportunities out there, including ones that SEB is working on. You can check our website, and that's it. So I hope everyone has a great night, and thanks for tuning in. If you end up having questions, you know where to find us. So thanks again. Take care, everyone.